Hello, I'm Ginger Chang. Welcome to USTC360. Thank you for joining us again. Today we continue with the second part of our special feature on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. During the weeks following the terrorist attacks on September 11th in 2001, Tzu Chi volunteers from New York, Long Island, and New Jersey mobilized to deliver bottled water to relief workers at Ground Zero. In addition, Tzu Chi set up service stations at Pier 94, the Chinese Community Center in Chinatown, and the New Jersey Office of Recovery. Tzu Chi also held a memorial prayer service at Liberty Park in conjunction with prayer services in Taiwan that were broadcast live via satellite. One of the Tzu Chi volunteers who helped in the relief efforts was actually a 9/11 survivor. Yong-Tai Tsai was working at the World Financial Center Plaza and had scheduled to go to a meeting at the branch office in the North Tower that day. It was fortunate that he was running late because he missed going into the entrance only a few minutes before Tower 1 was struck by the first airplane. Let's hear him retell the route of his incredible escape from downtown New York City that day. New York City is the financial center and the most populous port city in the United States. Also known as Manhattan, the city has many world-famous museums, libraries, restaurants, theaters, exciting attractions, and unmatched shopping destinations. Yet, the people of this fascinating city at one time also witnessed a horrible tragedy in its history.
I was here the day that it happened. I was at 111 Broadway, and I watched the planes fly into the buildings, and it's just forever it'll be in my heart. So many lives were taken from families, and just a mom going to work or dad going to go to work, and then not to come home. Every time I pass this place, it's touching, but I get it out. I come here. I'm not a girl, and men cry too. So I come here and I see what's happening, but
Master Chen Yan has said that life passes by us within seconds. So if I didn't have those 2 minutes, then I wouldn't be alive today. My office was on the 46th floor of the World Trade Center. Everything is gone now. The North Tower used to stand there, and the South Tower was over there with some shorter buildings. That building which they've completed is the 7 World Trade Center.
Probably the very first time in 10 years, in almost 10 years.
It's my very first time here in 10 years. It's almost 10 years. Since 2001, I've been taking a day off from work every September 11th. I still think back to that morning. If I had been a minute earlier, I would have been in the elevators. I had taken the subway that day and had entered the building's lobby. I saw the ceiling explode above me and I ran outside with everyone. Fortunately, I had a friend who lived near the office and knew the area well. I followed him. We ran from there to Winter Garden where we could get a better view of the World Trade Center.
Winter Garden 是稍微比较矮的。
I saw people jump out from the windows of the buildings, and that was the last time I saw the Twin Towers.
看 World Trade Center。
你看到那个影像哈，电视的影像。
When I saw the news broadcast that buildings collapse on TV, I had lost all hope. His cell phone wasn't working when I kept calling. Then around 2 p.m., he was finally able to reach a friend and requested the friend to contact me.
请他的朋友捎。
Once I knew he was completely safe, I hurriedly put on my Tzu Chi uniform and went to the chapter office.
穿着制服就到会所来报道。
We went to Costco first to buy food, and then we sent it over to the medical center.
食物送到 medical center 去。
应急当天9·11的事情的发生。
We were really short on supplies on the day of the 9/11 attacks, so we did our best to collect over 200 sleeping bags and blankets within 2 hours. We then delivered them to a nearby school located between New Jersey and New York that was being used as a temporary shelter.
学校。
Well, Tzu Chi set up a booth in 2 places. One is Liberty State Park. The other, I believe, in the Pier 97 or 67. That one I didn't go, but I did go to this, the booth in Liberty State Park. Try to help out, to take an application, assess the situation, and give out help. So that's what I did.
In a labor of love, Tzu Chi volunteers' 9/11 relief efforts were finally recognized by New York City. Along with the Salvation Army and the Red Cross, Tzu Chi was one of the only 3 charity organizations allowed access into Ground Zero. Tzu Chi gave out nearly $2 million in cash to help over 3,000 affected families. Since 9/11, Tzu Chi's Mid-Atlantic Regional Office in New Jersey currently has 1,000 volunteers and over 10,000 donating members.
Almost every Friday, I come. Over there, you work for money. Here, you work for yourself. So you feel much better. I feel much better. And I'm sure, all these guys feel the same way.
Mr. Tsai is now actively involved in the food pantry program at Tzu Chi's New Jersey office. He has put his professional expertise to good use by developing a computerized shopping cart system.
And in fact, Tzu Chi will be my priority business. I will put Tzu Chi in the first place. The idea, the concept behind Tzu Chi. And you see what happened in Tzu Chi. You see the 师兄师姐, okay, the way they devote themselves, to the mission. I move. I was moved, and I'm still moved.
对，我想他们感受。
The volunteers understand that the meaning of life is impermanent, so I believe they're really devoted to being a part of Tzu Chi. They want to utilize their time well because they know that life is short.
我主要是慈善。
I mainly work in Tzu Chi's mission of charity, TIMA, and international disaster relief assistance. I've also participated in the medical services for a while now. I go help out every Sunday afternoon.
已经很久了。
Tzu Chi volunteers also have been participating in interfaith services with other religious communities in New Jersey. In 2010, Tzu Chi hosted the prayer gathering.
I think the interfaith service took on a new importance and even poignancy after September 11th, because we all were people who in some way were impacted by this terrible disaster, and that drew people closer together.
There is no difference whether if you believe in Buddha, whether you believe in Jesus Christ, whether you believe in the Jewish religion of the Old Testament. It doesn't matter. You're still all believing in one human being is equal to another human being.
After the tragedy of 9/11, the world seemed more fragile and the future more uncertain. Master Zheng Yin realized that people were suffering and living in fear of man-made and natural disasters because of men's greed. In hopes of encouraging more love and compassion in the world, the Master began the One Person, One Charity campaign. The initiative was held on October 13, 2001 because the numbers 1013 sound like one person, one charity in Chinese. The Master's wish really struck a chord with John Hong, a Tzu Chi volunteer you'll meet in our next segment. Prior to becoming a Tzu Chi volunteer, John ran a very successful store named Mei Mei Bakery in Chinatown with his two older brothers. His family's famous Chinese dim sum buns and sticky rice wrapped in bamboo leaves had been served at five-star hotels such as the Waldorf Astoria and even featured on the Conan O'Brien show. Yet he was touched by the Master's compassion because although she was in Taiwan, she still wanted to help people in need. When we asked him how he had felt on the closing day for Mei Mei Bakery, John said that after 42 years, he can finally dedicate himself as a full-time Tzu Chi volunteer and spend time with his mother, for whom the bakery is named after.
Today, we would like to introduce our special smoothie drink, which is a mixture of Tzu Chi's 5-grain powder, banana, apples, and strawberries.
选了那个香蕉、苹果跟那个 strawberry。那跟我们的是
The ingredients are then put into the blender with cold water. It's a very nutritious and delicious drink. That's why it is called Tzu Chi's energy drink. It provides plenty of nutrients for old people.
老人家呢喝的那个奇迹的心理汤呢，是对你的身体有好的改善，而且有很大的帮忙。好，
Okay, everyone, please have your reusable cups ready so you can try the juice.
It's delicious! I really like it!
OK。好，嗱，咁我而家咧再打呢個。我是在Chinatown 呢。
I opened Mei Mei Chinese Gourmet Bakery in Chinatown, New York for 42 years. We are known for making Chinese-style buns. Our products were sold to Chinese supermarkets along the East Coast, which was from Boston down to Florida.
Boston all the way down to 那个 Florida，大部分的 supermarket 都有我们的产品。那个9/11
On 9/11, many people were fleeing for their lives that day. It was really chaotic when the World Trade Center tower collapsed. At the time, I had put out bottles of water outside the front of my store, so whoever was in need of water had it available to them.
那个 bottled water 就拿到那个门口上，就人家进去就由他们自己拿。那再过2-3天的时候呢，我就
A few days later, I saw Tzu Chi volunteers distributing emergency cash at the Chinese Community Center in Chinatown. It really touched my heart. So when I walked into the building, they asked me to help, and of course, I was very happy and I agreed to help.
那我就很开心了，我说好啊。
Guess what they asked me to do? Well, because I'm a businessman, my first task was to write out checks. I said, oh my gosh, that's my expertise. But after you wrote a check, you didn't just hand it over to the person. You had to stand up, present it respectfully with 2 hands and said, thank you. I had never done that before. The experience is something you definitely can't buy with money.
钱买不到的一种的感觉，真的。
Soon after the September 11th attacks, Tzu Chi was the only organization that gave emergency cash to the survivors. The families Tzu Chi had assisted later on thanked the charity group during a U.S. congressional hearing.
One of the trailers was sponsored by a Buddhist compassion relief fund known as the Tzu Chi Foundation.
During this time, I have felt supported and been deeply moved by family, by friends, and total strangers. I was especially touched by an organization at the New Jersey Family Assistance Center, a Taiwan Buddhist compassion relief organization, Tzu Chi Foundation USA, who donated $1,000 to my family on the spot.
慢慢的生意也回来了。
After 9/11, my business slowly picked up and I still continue to volunteer in Tzu Chi. In the beginning, I came to support whenever I could. Over time, I began to participate more in Tzu Chi and less time at the store.
将我的公司的时间呢就减少，就增加Tzu Chi的那个技工的那个时间。那结果在那个
Then in 2007, I decided to retire, so I closed down the business and became a full-time Tzu Chi volunteer.
就投入在那个Tzu Chi的100% 的技工。那个就是我们以前美美的。
My store, Mei Mei Chinese Gourmet Bakery, used to be located over there. Anyone walking on their way here by that street corner could smell the aroma of the Chinese glutinous rice wrapped in bamboo leaves.
到前面的话呢，也
People were curious to know where it was coming from. We were the only store making this in New York at the time. However, after running the business for 42 years, I wanted more time to do what I wanted to do. You know, money can't buy time. It's not everything. I decided to spend more time with my mother and participate more in Tzu Chi's activities.
，especially not for the time。那我还是需要时间陪我妈妈做Tzu Chi。
There are many people like Mr. Hong who joined Tzu Chi because of 9/11. Since Chinatown was close to the site where the Twin Towers had fallen, the area was sealed off for several months. Businesses could hardly survive. Tzu Chi volunteers established a relief station to help struggling Chinese residents. Many people were moved by the gesture and decided to join Tzu Chi. Thus, this laid the foundation for Tzu Chi's New York Chinatown Service Center.
The transients you experience in life can happen suddenly out of the blue. It can happen at any second, so I truly believe in cherishing each and every moment.
I got more involved in Tzu Chi's activities after 9/11. I've participated in international disaster relief aid missions and community service.
Since its inception after 9/11, volunteers at the Tzu Chi's New York Chinatown Service Center have been committed to serving the neighborhood. Free vegetarian lunches are offered to low-income senior citizens and disabled people every Saturday. Furthermore, the center has become a haven that represents strength to the Chinese community and a place for Tzu Chi volunteers to share and spread Master Zeng Yan's philosophy with the entire world. Now, after 10 years, Master Zeng Yan's 1013 initiative is still going strong. 9/11 also brought together more volunteers to join Tzu Chi, resulting in the establishment of the Tzu Chi Manhattan Service Center. The center now holds a weekly vegetarian soup kitchen. There are currently 170 senior citizens in the program. As for Tzu Chi volunteers in New Jersey, through the monthly food pantry program, they discovered that one of the recipient's sons is a 9/11 survivor who quit his job and has been living in fear and trauma. Yong-Tai Tsai was able to meet with him in hopes that Tzu Chi volunteers can help him move forward. In our next segment, Footprints, we bring you the story of Austin Tao, who was the CEO of Tzu Chi USA during 9/11. When Austin initially entered Ground Zero, he tried to offer his assistance, but to no avail. It wasn't until a mother came to the Salvation Army for financial aid to buy baby formula for her 8-month-old daughter that he was finally able to help. The Salvation Army was only offering subway tokens at the time, but fortunately, one of the Tzu Chi volunteers accompanying Austin had prepared $7,000 in cash in advance. The mother was given $500, and from that moment on, Tzu Chi became an officially recognized charity group to help in the 9/11 relief efforts.
At that time, when I met the former New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, I had the chance to share 2 of Master Zheng Yan's teachings with him. The first one was, use benevolence and tolerance to eliminate old hatred, and the second one was, learn to be content and grateful to build good relations with others. Mr. Giuliani replied, it is a beautiful remark. The sentences seemed to be very good words of encouragement for him. The first time I participated in a Tzu Chi activity was 1992. We were visiting a nursing home. It smelled very bad when we opened the door because many of the old people were sick. It didn't make me feel well, so I really wanted to leave. However, there were 2 Tzu Chi sisters who just walked inside the nursing home naturally, which really impressed me. Silicon Valley Grandma also taught me how to care for the old people and become acquainted with them. I learned many things from that experience. I saw the suffering of others and realized how lucky I am to be blessed with a fortunate life. The experience was invaluable, and I was even more convinced that being on a Tzu Chi path was the right way. Since I live on the campus of Tzu Chi's headquarters, going home late is not a problem. So there are nights when it's really late and everyone has gone home that I'm still working. Even though the main doors are locked, I feel like the brothers and sisters are still here with me. I also remember the Master's heart is with us too, so I feel very grounded. I wish I can improve more of my English and speak it gracefully and flawlessly. Then I can help spread the Master's teachings to Americans. This way, we can invite more Americans to join Tzu Chi, which is a great organization. Let us use the power of love to inspire more people to radiate Tzu Chi's spirit deeper into the community.
Tzu Chi was the first charity group to offer cash assistance to 9/11 survivors and their families. According to data from Tzu Chi's U.S. headquarters, nearly $2 million were given in total in 2001 to over 3,000 families of victims. The highest amount Tzu Chi provided was $1,000. This endeavor won Tzu Chi widespread recognition, such as from former New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani and the Asian American Federation. Furthermore, Tzu Chi's immediate mobilization in times of disaster has earned it the reputation for being the first ones to arrive and the last ones to leave. I'm Ginger Chang. Thank you for joining us this week. Be sure to tune in next week for a new episode of USTC360.